good to have all of you here, first of all, but great to get on the grass here as we start spring ball. You guys have had really good winter. A bunch of new guys, 27 new guys, 23 freshmen inside of our program. A lot of young guys just, on our roster in general, and proud of what they've done. Just strength, condition, and the build up, the lead up to spring ball, starting to get a grasp of what we're doing on the football side as well. Today's day one. As you would expect, great energy, but guys played hard too. There's going to be a bunch as we go back and watch the tape that it's the beginning part of the journey, and challenge those guys after practice, man. It's about consistent growth. It's about not making the same mistake twice and learning how to play the way that you have to, and that starts with effort, attitude, and playing tough. And we'll continue to grow on the smart side of it as we continue to go through spring, but in the lead up to kickoff as well. But really proud of what they've done in the beginning part. The first quarter of our off season here as we kick off the second with spring ball. Excited about where we're going. So I'll open it up. Some questions from y'all.
Josh, you've got George MacIntyre out there. When you have a young quarterback like that in his first practice, a lot of information, a lot of pace. What's your advice to him about how to process all that early on?
Yeah, it's just the beginning stages for a young quarterback. So, recognizing signals, how to communicate. It's at the line of scrimmage when we're in tempo. It's, dead ball situations, the huddle, the sideline, learning how to control and command all of those things. You work on that in the lead up, but once you get helmets on and we're out on the grass, it's a little bit different. Today did a really good job. Understanding structure of defense, where are you taking your eyes? That's pre-snap, post-snap, and then your fundamentals got to play into being consistent and giving yourself a chance to be accurate with the football once you make a sound decision. So, man, I just listed off a lot of things that got to happen. It's day one, like what he did today, but there's going to be a lot of growth here through spring ball. I always say this to our young guys, first time out on the practice field with us as you start spring ball, man, first 5 days, man, it's happening fast, right? The calls, formation recognition, the speed of the game, it's all faster. Second 5, you kind of find your groove, and if you're doing it right, by the time you get to the end of spring ball, you're a dramatically different football player than you were at the beginning. So just understanding that you just got to continually invest, and you'll reap the rewards as you go through the process.
I realize every team is different, but when you have a large young group that's come in like this and you're replacing a lot of veterans who have left your program, do you manage a spring different? Is your expectations any different? How do you go about so much youth compared to maybe a team that's more veteran-laden like you had maybe last year?
I do feel like, first of all, in college football, there's always a cycle, and typically you end up having a bunch of young guys inside of your roster. That's been the case for us since we've been here. This group of young guys have been really mature. Just, I'm talking about their approach, how they've handled, off-season workouts to, what daily life looks like as a college athlete. The extra things that they got to do to give themselves a chance to be prepared for day one out on the practice field, let alone what's coming as we continue to grow through the spring. It's been a really positive group. They've blended into the culture, the expectations of accountability and building trust, and how we attack everything that we're doing. They've handled that really well. There's a bunch of young guys on our roster, and when you go through spring ball, man, it's about fundamental development. It's about technique. It's about learning how to play from snap to whistle. It's learning how to reset from play to play. There's a ton of growth that has to happen, but we have a ton of growth that we got to take them through, and it starts with all of those things to get them to where they need to be. And we don't kick off until, I don't know what the date is, but September. There's a long journey that we got to go through, and they got to grow through that.
Do you think young players are more prepared now than they were 4 or 5 years ago in terms of being able to plan and manage it?
I don't know that I necessarily feel that way. I think the amount of mid-years, compared to a decade ago that you have, helps them, get comfortable and assimilate to what's going on as a collective group, versus, maybe 5 guys that were coming in at that time. It feels like they're with their class, which I think is a positive thing for them. The process that we go through during the winter, I think helps give them a chance to continually grow into the lead up of spring ball. Where day one, it is day one in helmets, but they feel like they're prepared for that moment too.
I guess I'll continue the theme of young guys, but David Sanders, we obviously see what he looks like physically, but what's he like just sort of, I don't say mentally, but as a person, as a player, what kind of person is he like off the field?
Man, super smart kid that very engaging, very personable. He's got a great family, cares about the guys around him. He's had great work habits since he arrived, continued to grow. There's a lot of growth for him and every young guy that's come onto our roster. He's put on weight. He's got to continue to do that, continue to grow into his frame, but it's got great athleticism. Okay. I'll probably ask you for the second question after I answer the first one.
So you go into year 5, and this is, the first time without Cooper Mays and Columbus practice. How different is that? And then talk about maybe the build-up and recruiting that room, the growth in that room, and what that is in the field.
Yeah, like what we've done inside of that room, the portal additions that have experienced some years in college football, body types that we like, both smart guys as far as their ability to process information at the O-line position. Excited, once we get to the pads, you tend to find out a whole lot more about the guys up front. It becomes real football, but really excited about them. The young players that we've added the last couple of cycles inside of that position room, really excited about their growth and development. Physically, there's still a lot of that left out there for them as we continue to go through our offseason before we kick off or get to training camp. Excited to see them grow on the football field fundamentally in technique in the cycle of college football. We've been fortunate to have Coop and you mentioned Spragues for a long time. But that's the great thing about college football too is your roster changes, and it's exciting to have young guys that got to grow into it and take control and battle and fight and find out who's going to be ready to play at a championship level.
You had Seth over the last knowing him for such a long time, knowing what he's going to do as a head coach, as a coordinator.
Yeah.
How big was that to get that extra veteran set of eyes for his staff?
Yeah, always at the end of the day, trying to make, just like you do in the recruiting process, make your roster as strong as you can, trying to do the same thing with your staff. And the addition of Seth, but the other guys that we've hired, really excited about the experience that they have, the success that they've all had. My relationship with Seth, I think makes it easy in the transition as far as, man, he's going to be straightforward with me and be able to bounce ideas off of me, just having sat in that chair as a head coach too. And so I'm excited about having him and the other guys here as we started spring ball.
How you feel about your wide receiver room after the turnover there, and how big is the spring for those young guys there in particular to show that they're capable of taking on those roles?
Yeah, opportunity exists, and really like the group. Their physical traits, they're big, they're long, athletic, really intelligent football guys, really mature. They've grasped onto what we've given them up until this point in a really, really good way. So they did a really nice job out there, made some plays. So excited about that group.
You talked a little bit about Coop. What do the guys competing at the position have to do in order to take steps toward being as successful as Cooper Mason?
Well, command and control of what we're doing offensively, understanding of defensive structures, the ability to communicate at a really high level and get all 5 guys on the same page, and that includes your tight ends and running backs too. And Coop has done a really good job for a really long time here. We're fortunate to have him for a while, but we got a lot of guys that are we have great belief in. They got to continue to grow as players, but a ton of competition at that position as well. There'll be multiple guys that are putting their hands on the ball and playing the center spot, but I think there's really good competition at all the spots that we're continuing to grow inside of that room.
Teams across college football have changed spring games up for different reasons. Just what went into the decision to have a spring game in New England and the tradition?
Yeah, it's not just the tradition of it. I do love the spring game opportunity for our fans to be here inside of the stadium, but it's usually a great environment on campus that day. I think it's important, in particular for our young players, to get a taste of what it's going to be like in the fall, to play in front of a crowd, big stadium. We open up on the road this year. You don't want that to be the first time that they've played in front of a bunch of people, and so that experience, I think it can create urgency, understanding what it's going to feel like as they finish up spring ball, go into summer. End of the day, we got to accelerate their growth curve, and a spring game in those settings is a part of accelerating their growth.
What's the to-do list for Nico this spring? Kind of what do you have on the radar for him for the next step?
Yeah, command and control of what we're doing offensively, better with his eyes, fundamental position to be accurate with the football, leadership. It's the checklist of playing the quarterback position. All of those things, he's got a chance to continue to get better at. Like a lot of what he did, there's some areas that that I was just talking about that he can be better at. And as a quarterback, a big part of your job is creating urgency for the 10 guys around you to play at a really high level too. That leadership role, it's not just verbally, it's how you're accelerating the mindset and the growth of the guys around you. So all of those things play into what he has been working on and what he's got to continue to throughout the course of the offseason. Yeah, Mike's had a really good offseason, just physically continuing to grow into his frame. He's as healthy as he's been right now for a long time. Just during the course of the fall, kind of got nicked up early, late in the summer, kind of re-injured himself a little bit in training camp, and kind of fought through the injury bug a little bit during the course of the season. In year two for him, growth of control in his mind, how he approaches everything every day. He's really matured in a really good way, and so I'm excited about what he's done up until this point in the offseason, but really like what he did today on the practice field, and we have high hopes and expectations for him.
Window after spring. How do you manage like coaching football and managing a roster at the same time? Do you delegate? Do you separate your time? How do you do that?
Man, college football kind of has been this way. I don't know how many years now. It's been long enough that I can't count them. Like when we're doing ball, it's about ball, and you get to the back end of spring, portal opens up, and then you turn your attention to those things.
Coach, since the season ended, I'm sure the anticipation was building. What was it like to finally get the guys out on the field today for spring practice?
Yeah, I really do enjoy every phase of the off season. Guys get back, they're excited about getting in the weight room and doing some stuff with them, and on the conditioning side, some football. It's limited during your build up, ramp up during the winter. But now you're back to what we're all here to do, which is go play, and you get on the grass, competition, energy, guys make plays, guys don't make plays, how do you reset to the next play? I love spring ball because it's an intentional time of, fundamental technique. Just you're starting on the football side on the ground floor, you reset every year. So, a lot of fun to get back out there with those guys.